So I personally would rather hear the dog sniffling at their leg.
Yeah.
And also hear them breathe. So my preference is to have you unmuted unless you know there's something noisy going on in your background. You'll actually hear my gardeners outside right now. So, but you also—
I love it. That's the instruction. That's what we will go with. And
Yeah.
with that, we are hitting 6 o'clock. So are you ready, Karen?
Let's see what we got. Yeah, I gotta. If I'm a co-host, now I've never done this before. Oh, now I'm on you. How do I get everybody in a gallery view?
So you see me, look up at the top. There should be the bunch of little squares. You click that, and that's gallery view. And let me stop sharing. That's what we have to do first.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I've got everybody sort of in a line on the side.
Yep.
But I don't have them in a grid all the way across. I just see
up to the very top. There should be a tab that says gallery view.
No, not like the usual gallery view. Somehow you are pinned, I believe.
Okay, so we're gonna unpin that.
Make sure that you are unpinned and see if you turn up, because I would love to see everybody's face.
Yeah, we have a lot of amazing faces here right now. Well, while Karen's looking, and Karen, I'll help you in a second, I just want to welcome everybody to our Admitted Student Series, all of our future students. I recognize a lot of you. It's great to see you again. This is going to be a fun discussion. The topic is acting. We have an amazing host today, Miss Karen Austin, who is right there waving to you. Karen has worked in the film, television, stage industry. She is a wealth of knowledge. She's worked on such films as Rum Diary. She's worked on TV series, worked on mini-series. She's going to be able to talk all about herself. But I'm also going to put the link to her website and IMDb page in the chat if you didn't already see it in the email.
Yeah, my preference is always that when I meet someone or that I'm going to spend time with somebody, I like to really scope them out first so I know if they have any street cred. But that's because I've gotten snotty about that sort of thing. It's like, I want to know, like, if you're going to tell me stuff, I want to know why you know or what ground of experience you stand on. So feel fully free to stalk me and or argue with me. But I wish, help me, just I don't want to take up a lot of time because we only have an hour together, but I want to figure out how to see, I can see all of them.
Okay. So
Wait, I did it.
There's everybody throw your hands up.
4, 5, 6, 7 more. Hi. There we go. Okay.
So, and just so you know, Karen, Kit, and LeGrand, their camera's not on. They work at Columbia College Hollywood, so they're not students. But everyone else are future students. And by show of hands, how many of you are hoping to go into the acting discipline? Okay, great.
Only 3, but the others are smart enough to know that acting training will serve you. If you're going to be a writer, if you're going to be a director, if you're going to be a producer, if you're going to even run a crew and be a production coordinator. I believe that acting is a way to explore connection, communication, vulnerability, authenticity. It'll help you develop your voice, all that stuff that I think is integral to what you want to do. I mean, what I want to do is, wait, now we're missing some of the staff people. I see you guys in a totally different order than you see everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm looking at, how do I say it? Janetzy?
It's Janetzy.
Janetzy, great.
Yeah.
Tell me, you didn't hold your hand up, or did you?
I did.
You did. So you do want to be an actor, and are you going to be a double or a triple threat?
I don't know.
Okay, well, that's something you'll find out. That's
Yeah.
why it's cool going to a place where you can take classes like that. Okay, great. Monisha, is that the way I say it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And you?
Well, I'm not too sure yet. So
You're just coming to explore the film world.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, great. Harley, how about you?
I'm going into acting, and that's what I'm passionate about.
Okay, great. Dorian?
I'm going to directing, but I've been acting for most of my life, so
Oh, you'll be
yeah.
a good director then. You'll be a good director.
Yeah.
Read Judith Weston. Do you know Judith Weston's work? Judith Weston's work is really about how to communicate with actors, and she's brilliant at describing how to translate director speak into actor speak. And you'll be able to read it because you've had all this acting training. Some directors open it up and they don't quite know how to dive into it, but somebody that already knows about acting. So it's Weston, light summer reading for you. It's thick as hell.
You said Judith Weston?
Yeah, Weston. It's required reading in my course.
I'll put it in the chat, Karen. So everyone, if you have questions, obviously
Thank
speak
you.
out loud, but I will also be looking in the chat. You could put anything down there. Again, this is a time for you to ask Karen questions. It's not a sit and listen.
No, I'm asking you questions first. This is how I get here. You know, this is scarier than actually acting. This business of like being a lecturer and letting people like look at you and expect you to come up with some sort of cogent answer. You know, this is me getting present. Is like so Carrie, what are you majoring in or concentrating on?
I'm thinking looking at screenwriting, but I could also switch. You know, you never really know what you're gonna be really awesome at.
That's right. Okay. I'm going to talk about triple threats or double threats when I finish, because or when we get talking. Dhruv, is that how I say it? No.
Basically, I want to pursue in cinematography.
Again?
I want to do cinematography.
Oh, you're in cinematography. Did I say your name right?
Yeah.
I did. Yay, me. Okay. Good. All right. Cinematography. Good for you. Javier, is that how I say it?
Javier.
Javier. Yeah. How about you?
I'm going into acting.
You're going into acting. Is that your hair that's lit fabulously?
Yes.
Oh no, it actually has some color in it too. Okay, cool. Yeah. And Megan? Or Megan?
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I want to major in acting or directing or both.
Or both. Do both. Why not?
Why not?
Yeah. George?
I want to do screenwriting and acting.
And acting, both. Cool. Sean, is that how I say it? I can't see you because you need to tilt your screen down so I can see.
Oh, well, hi. No, I'm too busy eating, so I don't want you to hear the crunching in the back. But I want to major in all actually, but my first goal to do is acting.
Okay, cool. When you finish eating, will you come back up so we can see your face?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, so this is us, but who's staff? You said there were staff on here, but I don't see.
Of course. So we have Greg Rosati, we have Kit Rivers, and LeGrand Love. LeGrand was actually a former student at Columbia College Hollywood, and now he works in the admissions department.
Cool. All right, that's what I want. Everybody come on board. There we go. LeGrand, nice to meet you.
Yeah, Kit, Gregory, if you can, feel free.
Great. Hi, Kit. And who else?
It's Greg Rosati, the one standing very still with glasses.
LeBron, come back. Was it LeBron? LeGrand. Yeah. Sorry.
He might be busy.
LeGrand.
No, I'm not.
You're not busy. Okay. So, so you guys came here to this Zoom for something. So why? I know you're looking for community as you get ready to enter the school. But I also know you probably had some questions you may have wanted to ask. Did anybody Google me by any chance? Okay. I've been acting for 40 years. I've made my living as an actor for, almost 50 years. That's really frightening. And started teaching, teaching creativity workshops about 20 years ago, and then started working at my own studio about 15, and then started with Columbia last January because my friend Julie Janney, who sometimes works on this creativity workshop that I do, got a job as a stand-in for Meryl Streep. And she said, will you do this class for me? And I started teaching, and then COVID hit. And it was really a gift to me to be forced to learn how to connect with people through the digital world. Because I would have been really isolated. So I've used this for like all my friends, as well as my classes, and also my own asylum has gone on. But my resume is, I started out doing theater. I was in the PhD program at Northwestern and left to go do Blue Jean commercials because I wanted to pay the rent, and then did commercials in Chicago and joined the union there and came out to LA. And my first job was Happy Days and Rockford Files. And I've just continued working on television about, I don't know, about 300 hours if you scroll through the IMDb, and lots of feature films and lots of plays. And I've been above the title, and I've been a supporting actor. And I haven't done any background, and I haven't done any porn, and I haven't done any Broadway. But other than that, I've pretty much done it. You know, and I've had the arc of the career. You know, I've had the arc where I was the hot ingenue, and then I was like the babe with the gun and the tight skirt, and then I was the doctor, and then I was the psychiatrist, and then I was the grandmother. So, and I think that I'm an endangered breed. This journeyman actor who can make a living, put their kid through college, and still go to the mall and not get mobbed. I'm not sure what the world is going to look like when we come out of this. It may actually be friendlier in some ways, because so many forms of bite-size scripted product are being made, and people are learning to buy that product and not just expect it for free on Instagram. But we'll find out. Meantime, you guys are training yourself to be storytellers. So, and before we get into the questions, I really think you have to have a lot of arrows in your quill. You know, I was able to make a living because I could do all different kinds of characters, because I started out in commercials and stopped doing commercials and then do television. Now I'm back to doing voiceover in commercials again. You know, I did television, I did feature films, I did stage, I did drama, I did comedy, all of that. And what I never added to my skill set was really the interest in, the appetite for, or the ability to produce and write. If you create content, you are king. So as you move through your training, think about what you're passionate about and what you're outraged about, and write about it. Create product about it. Network with the people that you're working with, and they become your community that then you go and produce things with. Is all that making sense? Some nodding would help. Or go like this if you don't agree. Okay. All right, who's got a question? It's going to be a really short meeting if you guys don't have questions.
When you go out for auditions, once you what happens once you get the job and right before filming, do you get a chance to meet the rest of the crew, or is the first day you're on set is the first day they meet everyone? It
depends, and who knows what it's going to be like when we go back. If the world continues to be like it was, it depends on the level of the project. So, and it depends on the size of your part. So if you're the lead, yeah, you're going to be meeting certainly the producers, the writing staff, the other lead actors. You'll have a wine and dine meeting of some kind. You'll have a cheese and, cracker reading around a table. If you're a guest star, the person who's your first contact with everything is going to be the wardrobe person. And they're going to say, this is what they picked out for you to wear. And it could be something that's so wrong. And you're like, can we compromise? I look horrible in yellow, or whatever, If it's a play, they'll That's a different, where'd you miss? Somebody comes, when you guys go in and out, you all flip around the screen. It's silly. I'm looking over at Dorian over there. If it's a feature film, if you're lucky, you'll have some rehearsal time beforehand. They do that sometimes with movies of the week. You might have a week, especially if you go on location, you go on location early. You get a chance to like meet people and all of that. But you have to be, one of the best skills you can learn as an actor is learn how to get intimate fast. And I don't mean I don't mean that in the sexual use of the word. I mean that in the sense of is being present with someone, is being willing to let yourself be seen, you know, and be there to support them and make them look good, and be willing, you know, be willing to try anything. Not necessarily cheerful, or, you know, okay, I'll do anything, but you know, because you have to enter into a relationship really quickly. Yeah. Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the truth is that's a good problem to have.
Karen, that ties in to a question I have. A lot of the people here, they're passionate about acting. They haven't taken any formal classes or maybe haven't even performed yet. How do you deal with fears? Because there's got to be some anxiety, some butterflies when you go onto set. Is there any techniques you use, or is it just being prepared?
I think how you feel is highly overrated.
I love that.
Really.
I love that. Yeah.
Do I feel good? Do I feel bad? How did I do? Am I afraid? Oh, I'm so nervous. What are they thinking of me? All of that just jams you right back into your head. And you can't create inside your head. Really, all I care about is your creativity. That's going to give you emotional health more than anything else. And if you're committed to that person over there, or your audience, or what you have to say, or what the piece is about, that's your job. If you're committed to your job more than how you feel, that cracks the problem open right there. Then there is a world of techniques that you can, I mean, breathing is one of them. Everybody breathe with me right now. Breathe, throw. I can see you not breathing, guys. One more time, not with your shoulders. Boobs. I said, can I be irreverent? Is that okay? Politically incorrect. Yeah. I always say tits up, which I think that word has now become politically incorrect. But pecs up, let's say, so that
We don't censor. We don't censor here.
Okay, right. So you can roll your shoulders back and down, and this part of your chest opens up to oxygen. And again, eyes open, stay here. And you'll notice that you become more awake. You notice you become more alert. You notice you become more present. And if anything, everybody talks about, anybody that's going to break down creativity for real will tell you that creativity can only happen in the present moment. Everybody knows this now. It's part of what's brilliant about a lot of, I don't know what to call it, a lot of people embracing meditation and Eastern thinking now is that people seem to understand that the past is just regret for the most part, and the future is mostly anxiety. And so that when you're here, that's where you're firing on the burners that allow your front brain to connect with your back brain and for your subconscious to come through. And most of that stuff that hits you when you're in the shower, that stuff where you get those great ideas, that's your subconscious finally getting a chance to punch through, right? And so if you're concentrating on how you feel, then you're not in the present, you're not as present as you can be. So there's all kinds of techniques, and all the teachers that you have will teach you different techniques about nervousness. But the truth about nerves is that it's just physiological symptoms produced by your brain that is trying to protect you. And so you have all the physiological symptoms of your amygdala going nuts because it thinks a casting director is the same as a saber-toothed tiger. That part of your ancient brain, hi, is it Pashan? I'm just seeing you just joined us. Hi.
Yeah, it's Passion. Hey.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Hey.
Alberto came on late too, I think, right?
Yes, I did. Sorry about that.
Great. No, it's nice. It's nice to see you guys. We're in the middle of, I don't know when you checked in, but we were talking about nerves. So first, if you know that most of the physiological symptoms you get, you know, the lakes under your armpits, the dry throat, the shaky hands, the weak knees, and this is true for any public speaking. I mean, you guys that are going to be writers, you're going to have pitch meetings. You know, you guys that are producers, when you go in to try and get that money from a German, what do they call those accounts? Where people, tax shelters. You're trying to get monies from tax shelters to fund your projects. Nerves will attack you, and if you put your attention there instead of on the job that you have to do, what you're putting your attention on is just physiological symptoms of fight or flight. Yeah, and it's normal. So if you just accept the fact that the way that you feel is normal and get on with what you have to do because you have prepared.
Yeah.
Because preparation is the key to life. Dorian, talk to me.
When you get the part either on a movie or like a television show, how long do you have to remember all of your lines?
Oh yeah, that's a good question.
Sometimes none. If they've had rewrites, they have all those different colors of pages for a reason. And you know, if you're a regular on a series and they're rewriting, particularly a pilot, you can come in and they can go, oh, we have green pages. You go, I thought we got green yesterday. No. Those are the dark green. These are the light green. It's like you're moving through the iterations.
So what does a green page mean?
Well, there actually is if we Google it, there is I don't know if it's Writers Guild, but there is a standard, like white is the first iteration, then there's pink, then there's blue, then there's somebody, one of you writers should know, but there's actually a, you know, yeah, there's, I think they get down to beige. I can't remember. There's like 9 different colors of paper.
Are they like how many drafts there are?
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's what I meant by iteration. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. If you get a feature film, if you're lucky, they'll send the script to your house. Notice I say they'll send the script to your house. That is so left over from the days when they messenger scripts. But you'll get the script, and I suggest you break it down and start working on it and have it all memorized before you hit the ground. All of it. Say whatever you get, start working on it right away. The longer you work on your lines, even if you think you know them, the more you have a chance for the proteins in your brain to fold over at night while you sleep, and it gets into your body as well as your mind. And then there are techniques for memorizing.
All right.
Wow. Yeah, Gregory. Is that a question? Yeah.
Yes. Hi, Karen.
Hi.
Hello, everybody. Daruv, how are you?
Hey, Greg.
All the time. I got a question for you, Karen. In regards to techniques, because you were talking about techniques.
I was?
Well, different techniques, right? Anyways.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So I used to have this debate with one of my coworkers regarding character preparation versus method preparation. Do you think you can kind of like enlighten us a little bit about the difference between the methodology?
First of all, I'd say do neither.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, do neither.
Wow.
Because I think that's all okay when you're a beginner. To actually believe that you're building something separate from yourself. It gives you a place to hide for a little bit. But the truth is, the nakerder you get, the more vulnerable you're willing to be seen, the closer you work to your own bone, the more authentic the performance and the more the audience will be moved. You know how sometimes you'll see somebody who's just this amazing actor, but it doesn't touch you? That's because they're creating all this and showing you this as opposed to doing this. So that's kind of what I think character work is. Now, there's some character stuff you have to do. If you're going to do an accent, you got to do an accent. And you're taking that on. But it has to become part of you so that there is no space between you and the accent. Same thing if you're going to be doing a bum leg. Or if you're going to be, I don't know, fill in the blank, right? Some things are required by the character that you physically may not have. but everybody has wanted to kill somebody. Everybody has wanted to do something really bad and naughty in an alley. Everybody has, wanted to steal something if they haven't. I mean, what teenager hasn't stolen? What girl hasn't gone into a drugstore when they're 14 and wanted to take some nail polish? We've experienced all the 7 deadly sins, every one of us.
I steal hearts, Karen.
Yeah, there you go. I think Uta Hagen says it. There's no character that we can't play building out of who we are by the time we're 18 years old. If we haven't had our father die, we've had our dog die. We've all had grief and loss and joy and passion and anger, and God, we've all had outrage. We've sure had outrage in the last few years, collectively and singularly. So when people talk about character work, I always worry that what it does is it takes people away from themselves. Now, that's one spectrum. Now we go over to sensory work, like Stanislavski, stepchild work. Is that what we're talking about? You were talking about sensory work is the other way to go, as opposed to character work, Gregory?
No, the method.
That's what the method is.
Oh, okay.
Method is not sensory work, it's sense memory. And there is the key to the meat of the matter for me, is that sense memory is a memory. So it takes you away from being in the present moment. So I think it's a great way to rehearse sense memory. So if you're trying to find the pain of a character and you want to go back and remember a horrible period in your life that was painful, that's fine. Don't do it while you're acting. Work on that painful memory and find out where in my body do I feel that? Do I feel it in my gut? Do I feel it in my chest? Is it in my breastbone? Is it in my, what happens when I start to mourn like that? Or where in my body do I feel angry? So you rehearse those emotions. So that when you get to that moment, and they're getting ready to say rolling, you're going, wait a minute, I just have to remember my dog when I was 6. Hang on, just 1 second. So you're gone. But if you've rehearsed those emotions, if you know in you, the more intimate you are with yourself and act out of yourself. So that's why I think I worry about both of those methodologies leading actors astray, away from themselves, which is where the power is. It's our, and that's what, when people say it's like your unique voice, your unique power, that's what your unique voice and power is where you've been hurt, where you've laid it on the line, where you've succeeded, where you've failed. Does that make sense? I'm sorry, I get passionate about this. I love actors.
Great, I love it. Karen, it's amazing. Alberto, I think you had a question.
Where's Alberto? Oh, there he is. Hi.
Yes, I did. I actually seen this sometimes before in movies, where actors actually forget their lines and then they have to go back to read the script so they can remember their lines.
You've seen it in movies?
I seen it not in movies, what are these called? Bloopers.
Oh, the bloopers. Oh, yeah. You'll have a blooper reel if you ever have a series, trust me. Because here's what happens even when you've done all the work, even when you've pounded it into your brain, I've been on stage where in the middle of a play that I've been doing the play for a year, and still go, oh my God, I don't know my line. Do you know what I mean? But it just happens. You get out of it if you're lucky. But it happens to everybody. And some of the reasons it happens is you get tired, your synapses aren't firing correctly. I mean, we are, physical creatures, and memory is a physical activity. But sometimes it's because you're in the middle of a scene and you're so in it that you're experiencing something you didn't experience before, and it throws you. And it's great, isn't it? Dorian's nodding because she knows what I'm talking about. It's great because you're starting to discover another level to the scene or to the character. And so it happened. Yeah. And then you have to go, try not to apologize, just go, we got to go again. And try and stay in it. If it's a comedy, it's a different matter. Everybody likes to laugh. Sometimes they like to pull jokes on you and make you forget your lines, directors do. I remember one time I was doing, Has anybody ever seen that science fiction series called Sliders?
Yes.
Okay.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, yeah. I got to. It was. They slid back to a Western era, at Western town, and I drove a buckboard, and I got to shoot a rifle and everything. But in my house, I was supposed to be reaching up into this, like a box, and I was supposed to find something. I've forgotten what it was. It was something really important. I reached up, and there was a rubber chicken. They had left the director had left a rubber because he just wanted to like throw me, and I wouldn't let it throw me. I brought it out and I said, "Here it is." You know, like it was something really important. Went up on the blooper reel. But
That was a great show, ahead of its time, really.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? I'm blanking on the people.
How many of you watch Rick and Morty? It
Me.
was the premise of that way back in the 90s of going to parallel universes. So that's all I'll say.
Yeah, when was it? It was in the mid
80s, yeah.
I can't remember.
It went into the 90s a bit, yeah.
Did it? I can't remember when I did it.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's suddenly hot here in LA, so I'm just doing it. Did that answer your question?
Remind me.
Yeah.
It did? It did or it didn't? I'm sorry.
I think it did.
Okay, cool.
It's like George Orange had a question, and then
So
Janet.
did Janet.
Yeah, I think she was first.
Oh,
Okay.
Janet, go ahead.
So you said that you didn't really like doing like methods and like stuff like that when developing a character. How
I
do you
don't
feel
develop
about
characters.
not to develop characters?
I don't develop a character. I go into it as if it's me in the given circumstances.
How do you feel?
I know it's all semantics, but this is just me. And here's what's going to happen. You're going to work with a bunch of different acting teachers, and every one of them is going to go, this is the way, or this is the way, or this and this are the ways. And you'll go, and you'll take what you want and what you like from each of them. And then with any luck, you'll develop your own methodology, your own technique, your own way of being, and you will learn and steal from every person you work with. I mean, I've worked with some amazing people. There was a guy named Tony Richardson who, God help me, what did Tony Richardson direct? Everything. He was married to Vanessa Redgrave.
I'm on it, Karen. I'm looking it up.
He was knighted by the Queen. He directed plays on the West End. Anyway, we were doing some horrible movie of the week in location in Oregon. And every time we would get to one of these heavy duty scenes where it was supposed to be fraught with, it was movie of the week. They were always, the 80s movies of the week were always about suffering. And he just kept throwing props into my hands. He would just go, here, serving tea. No, he takes lemon. He takes 2 lumps of sugar. And then, no, here, you have to now fold the laundry. Now, it's just stuff like, why do you have to have all this shit, Tony? And it was because he said, because this way it doesn't become precious. And I went, oh. And I suddenly had this, like, I know if I'm ever, like, if I have to do a bunch of bad writing, I will find an activity to help me get through it. And it's genius. But then it becomes about what you're not trying to let the other person see, right? Because for the most part, those suffering conversations are about people trying to hide from each other. If it's about them like talking it out to each other, it becomes just like soap opera. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So each person you work with will like share their genius with any luck if you keep asking the right questions. But when people talk about building a character, I don't know. I really don't want this to sound snotty, but I kind of got over it. And because I really realized that what you do is that you take the deepest parts of yourself and show that and construct the character out of yourself, not out of some other things outside of yourself. So maybe it's just that language kind of, that I don't like that language anymore for me.
Yeah, and Karen, could you elaborate on what you mean? You said, so it doesn't.
That's just me. There'll be other people you work with who will love that. And I want you to ask me that question again. Let him ask, and then I want you to ask me the question again and see if I can find a nice way to answer that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You said, the director said, so it doesn't become precious. What do you mean by that?
Oh, my precious. Oh, my precious. Oh, my precious acting. It's like that.
That was the best answer I could have asked for, actually.
Yeah.
But it really is like that. You know actors what I'm talking about. It's like, watch me cry and suffer. Look how good I am at this. Do you know what I mean? I'm sorry. I keep all these reminders keep popping up. Nothing more important than you guys. Yeah. It becomes indulgent. When
Sure.
it's about your acting, then it's indulgent. And that's, you know what I saw last night that I was so excited by? And I really could care less about cars. I am not a car enthusiast. I don't care about Formula One, none of that. I saw Ron Howard's movie with Christian Bale and Matt Damon.
Ford versus Ferrari.
Christian Bale is a friggin' genius. You want to watch somebody who does not care whether you like his acting or not, but his being. He should have gotten an Academy Award. So, Janet Z, did I answer your question?
Yeah, kind of in a way, yeah.
Well, go back and ask it again.
Okay.
Ask it in a different way.
Okay, so sometimes when you're watching a movie, like the actor, you're not looking at the actor. It's like you can see them in different movies and they look completely different to you.
Yeah.
So my question was more of like, how do you do that? Like, how do you make yourself look like that person, your character? How to look like that character in each different project?
Well, you will notice that they have an enormous amount of help from hair and makeup and wardrobe, for starters. And they also probably have a really good, movies are great because they have the time. You have time to work with those departments to develop what you want the look to be. In terms of the emotional reality of the character, when you, this is not a simple answer, but the best I can tell you is that I feel like you're showing different parts of yourself each time you do a different character. Like a crystal that you turn and the rainbow's a different color each time the light shines through a different way. That you're the building, all I can tell you is the building blocks are you. If you're trying to do anything outside of yourself, it'll just look like a paste and cut job. So if you're going to play a killer, you have to go back and dig pretty deep and find the parts of you that are ugly and resentful and whatever is the reason for the murder is. If it's someone who's needy or clingy or any of that, and you'll find that if you walk around really feeling like you're in grief, your body will begin to change. If you're in joy, your body will begin to change. All of that comes out of it. And they go, oh, that's how my body feels when I do that. Okay, well, I'll do that more and let's see how that makes me feel. So it's like it's exploring you in different ways. That's where the body postures come from, actually, is the emotional life of the character. So if you were in those given circumstances, what would you be like? If you had been raised and beaten daily by your father, or if you had been, your parents had died in a car crash when you were 8, or whatever it is that the character is there, they're inciting pain, usually. Their hero's journey begins. What would it be like if that happened to Janet Z? Yeah?
Janet Z.
Yeah.
Janet Z, yes.
Yeah.
George Orange, thank you for being
George.
patient.
Thank you for being patient, George. I'm sorry. This is true for writers too, though. What I just said was true for writers too.
Yep. So my question is, I guess it's a bit of a combination of it because like I do write and I've been doing so for years. So like I've also have had a chance to act as some of my characters as well as being on stage. So I know like some of the roles that best fit my personality like primarily, and some roles that I would have to push myself into.
Yeah.
But my question is more based on a consistency of finding work and bigger work, because most times, especially if you're outside of Los Angeles coming in, you hear the myths about agents and stuff like that. So I've gotten to the point where I'm trying to make a brand for my own creations, but at the same time, I do want to be on feature films and things of that nature. So is the common goal of an actor to get an agent or to become your own agent?
Oh, get an agent.
Definitely.
Yeah, you need representation. It's going to be, I mean, maybe not. Maybe the first thing that your agent pitches sells right away and it gets huge and you go, thank you very much, and you get yourself an attorney. But with any luck, what you get when you get a good agent is someone who is not only going to pitch you to people that you wouldn't be able to reach, but they're also going to explain how things work and guide you through the process of negotiating. And because everything changes, everything keeps changing, you know, like what actors can ask for, how much back-end participation can they get in addition to the residuals, if they can't give you, and everybody's trying to get you to do things for scale, you know, plus 10 now. I mean, that the people don't negotiate anymore like they used to.
Megan, Dorian, I see your hands up. I'll make sure you guys are able to ask. We got one question coming in from the chat from a broken microphone, Karen. So whenever you're ready for that.
So, and so if you're only allowed, if you're not allowed to negotiate, you only work for scale, what workarounds do your agents have? Like maybe getting you a per diem, or maybe getting you some sort of a better credit, or what of that I don't know of many people who have been able to, I really don't know of anybody that have been able to at least crack the doors open without an agent. And I may not be the person to ask about that because I've never been without one.
Yeah.
And I also have not tried to like pitch. Well, you know what? I actually did sell a movie of the week once without an agent. But that was because I knew the producer, because I had worked with him on a project beforehand. So when you start to make relationships, then you can start to work with people. And then I did have to get an agent to negotiate the deal for me with this producer. So
Gotcha.
it was, I don't know if that was helpful at all, George. Was it helpful?
Yeah, it's kind of the answer I knew was coming, but I was hoping there was like a loophole.
Yeah, getting access is really what agents are for.
Yeah.
And if you're, you know, if you get a manager and he says, I need you to get your own agent, then they don't have enough access.
Yeah, it's good advice.
Yeah.
All right, before I get to Megan and Dorian, Harley's mic is not working, but she wanted to know, Karen, what's the biggest difference from transitioning from stage acting to film acting? You could see Harley, but you can't hear from her.
No, I know. I think people make too much of it, actually. The actors I like best are the stage-trained actors who take the same size of passion and commitment they have to a performance and then just let it be like a nuclear core in the bottom of their body. And then all you have to do, if you're reaching a 2,000 seat theater, not only is your voice bigger, but your energy is bigger. If you're going through a lens, just because the million people that are watching you are farther away, the lens is still right there. So it's really just about, it's a physical learning. It is not an intellectual learning. Don't worry about it. Do spend a lot of time working on camera, and then once you've kind of figured out lens sizes and stuff, stop watching yourself. Don't get self-conscious. Trust your director. Trust your editor. They can be your best friend.
That's great.
Did that answer your question? Okay, good.
Megan, I would love to hear your question. And Karen, I'm just giving you a 15-minute warning, just so you're aware.
Okay. No, it's a warning to them.
So my question is what's like the best way to get an agent? How do you do that?
You know, it really is a catch-22, honey. They got to want you more than you want them. And I don't know how you get hot before you have an agent, but somehow I managed to do it, you know. And this is true for George too. You know, if you're in a play that everybody has to go see around town, if you've got a reel that just blows them out of the park. If you know somebody who knows somebody and you get a chance to have a drink with them and you are, they have no one like you, you know. The times when I've gotten agents was I was in a hit play and the casting directors were calling me at my house. I needed somebody to negotiate a contract. Another time, I traded up because they came after me. And then another time when my career was kind of cold, I had a reputation, but I walked into the agent's office and said, "You don't have anybody like me. You just don't." And they went, "You're right." But I was a known entity at that point. So how you do it now, it is putting together a kick-ass film reel. It's part of it. It's part of it's getting some film, because that's the way people find people now. You are so young looking that one of the things you can trade on is that you can work all the ABC Family shows. You know, you can play a teenager for a while, which is a good thing to do, you know? And they look for people that are like 18 that look 16. That's money in the bank right now, and it's an ephemeral thing.
Thank you. So sweet.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true.
That's
Who else?
great.
Did I
Dory,
answer your
I think, is
question?
next.
Yeah.
Yes, I had two questions. So what's the difference between an agent and a manager? And then second question, what's the best way to network?
Oh, Lordy.
That's actually a very good question.
It's a great question, and I didn't do my career this way, so I may not be the best person to ask. I'm a real good person to ask about technique and about self-tapes and memorization and nerves and stuff like that. But in terms of networking, I just made friends with everybody I worked with, you know, and I was lucky enough to work a lot. I was in a theater company. I did plays. I had play readings at my house. I got people together and they would come over to my house and we would read plays. I stayed busy. I did ballet classes. I met people in the ballet classes. I did yoga classes. I met people in the yoga classes. I mean, you just stay out and meet people. The problem is now that Los Angeles costs so much money to live. I mean, you could live, not cheap, but you could live certainly cheaper in Los Angeles when I first hit town. And right now, so much of your time gets eaten up with a straight job. You know, that time to go run out and take a ballet class or take acting classes will be your, even once you finish your college tenure, professional acting classes, you'll meet people. You'll do projects together. That's how you network. You're more likely to get an agent from a friend of yours who has an agent they like and says, "Oh, okay, I'll send you to my agent," than you are just cold sending out your tapes and resumes and pictures and a cover letter saying, you know, "I'm really passionate about acting," because most people who come to LA are not, you know. So I'm telling you, content. If you can create content, you'll get seen that way too. Megan wanted, but we have somebody on the, I
think, yeah, Megan has a question. Passion has a question. Go ahead, Passion.
Yeah, she hadn't asked one yet. Hi, honey.
Oh, try unmuting.
You're muted.
I can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so my one question for you is, how can you make it in the acting industry?
There are many, 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 many ways.
Give me your greatest way that you can make it in the acting industry. Oh, this is a good one.
That's a tough one.
Be dangerous. Be dangerous.
Okay.
Be dangerous. That part of you that like asked me that question like that, bring her out.
Oh, I'm coming. Don't
No,
worry.
no, I'm serious. Do you know what I'm talking about? That danger, being willing to like take a risk, being willing to be messy,
Yeah.
being willing to step in it and to say it like it is. It's exhausting, but it's what people want to see. It's what people are excited by. That's authentic for you. Whatever's authentic, it's like it. I think the way to make it is to find out who the, excuse me, fuck you are, and to hold tight to that. Because that's your genius and that's your glory, your warts and your wounds and the things about you that are brilliant and the things about you that are messy and the things about you that are hurt, you know? Because so much of what I see with young actors is they keep trying to be somebody else, something they've seen on the screen.
That's the one. Yeah, that's the one right there. Girl, yes, that is the one. That's the one. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, the town is cracking open like an oyster now. And
Are you okay?
no, I'm just really moved because it's changing, because people have been shut out and it's opening up in a way I've never seen it open up before. People of all shapes and sizes and predilections and sexual preferences and certainly color, you know, in a way it was never open before. And yes, it's still stupid and sexist and limited visioned and all of that stuff, but there's more hope than there used to be, I think, for people to be how they actually are. I got to town and they slapped me in a push-up bra and high heels, you know, and tried to make me into some blonde. It never quite fit. I was always the square peg in the round hole. I was always the other, well, Karen's the other way to go, because I had an attitude. But it's also when they wanted attitude, who did they go to first? You know? Because I never stopped. I was always dedicated to like what I knew. Don't give up what you know. Your innate knowing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but like, I'm sorry, wait, hold on. Have you like always stayed yourself in the industry? You like never changed
No.
for like nobody? Because people seem like to get in the industry and they do a whole 180 and they start changing and you don't even know the person anymore. It's just like, it's just all types of crazy.
I don't know. Maybe I was dumb. Maybe I should have. Maybe I would have been more famous. Maybe I'd have more rewards if I'd been different, but I didn't. I didn't. I always really believed that it was all, that this is going to sound corny, but I really always believed that being an actor was a service profession, that what we do is in some small way help people heal, that they see themselves on the screen, and that we all combine, all of us, the DP, the certainly the writer, the director, the guys setting the lights, the craft service guy, you know, all of us, the wardrobe lady, bless their hearts, and schlepping those damn clothes all around the set. We all come together to create something that contributes to people. You know, I mean, where did people go when the pandemic hit? They went to the stories.
Yeah.
You know?
Man, who's excited to take a class with Karen? Karen, amazing.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cry on you guys. I was just really excited.
I love it. Megan, did you have a question? I saw your hand go up, and we're getting to about the last 5-7 minutes. Go ahead, Megan.
I did actually. I was wondering, what do you think your best technique for memorization is?
Get it in your body. Do it out loud. Do it over and over again. Do it a different way each time. Don't get locked in line readings, and move around. Do it while you're walking, do it while you're doing the dishes, move, because people get locked into their heads in the way they're going to do it, and then they have no flexibility to respond to the person across from them with the lines they've already memorized.
That's a good idea. Yeah, I think that doing it the same way one time is just boring.
Well, not only is it boring, it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's boring for you, but it's also boring for the audience.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Each time you do it, it has to be the first time you've done it. And how do you do it the first time each time? And the only way to do that is to only have been there. You can't step in the same river twice. Each time you get up and each time they get ready to say action, it's a brand new river, you know?
Absolutely.
And the excitement of that is pretty cool, you know, and scary. And that's
horrifying.
Yeah, but that's being dangerous, right?
And that's a good thing.
Being willing to step in a new river. Yeah. Who else?
George, go ahead, sir.
George.
Yeah, I just had a question about the current state of the nation as far as like the COVID stuff that's like really put a hold on theater. Do you see in the future that theater will probably there'll be a cast on stage, but it'll be taped with no audience for like an indefinite amount of time in order for theater to open?
I have no idea. None of us have any idea. Anybody that tells you they have any idea what it's going to be like when we get to the other side of this is making stuff up. We really don't know. I don't see how, if it takes 8 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years, I don't know how we won't get back to live theater. In some way, people want to gather around the campfire and feel the energy of other human beings. It's why people go to church. It's why people sit in a circle and take hallucinogenic drugs. It's community, you know.
Right.
I mean, the first time, I was a religion and philosophy major before I switched to theater. And it was because in my experience, I saw more people transform through live theater than I ever did in a sanctuary. And I also love film. I love film because it pays really well. I also like film because you go fast, you do it, and it's done, you know, and then, you know, it's kind of cool in that way. And that magic circle of light and intimacy, and there's just stuff that you really can only do on film. But that stage thing, people will fight for it. Audiences will come back. It'll happen. Write plays, because we need them. A lot of them can be done by an audience by a cast on a stage and then filmed. But also, it's also a good start and beginning for a film. If you know how to write a brilliant play with a limited cast, and you can write a movie like that, it's really easy to add in the helicopters and the guns. But if you know how to write characters, that's the core of a brilliant movie. Yeah? Does that sort of answer your question, George?
Yeah, it does.
It does.
I love the live.
I know. Yeah, well, then you and I'll fight for it. Okay?
Gotcha.
Stay in touch. We'll fight for live theater together.
I think we have a good.
I want to join.
Yeah. Okay. I think we have a fun question to kind of wrap it up. Doreen wants to know, how do you prepare yourself for an intimate romantic scene with someone you don't really know?
I did a movie once called Throw the Hula Hand. It was not a big hit. And it was about a bunch of people hiking in the desert. And then I had a fight with my husband and he goes off. And then I'm there with the tour guide, handsome, strapping, good-looking young guy. And we get drunk and make love around the fire. But the pop at the end of the scene is that when I start to take off his shirt, I realize his breasts are bound. And we go ahead and do it anyway. And then I've never kissed a girl before. And so I prepared for that with vodka. The way
Oh, man. I like that answer.
And Katie, you know who played it was Katie Sakharoff, who, not Katie Sakharoff, sorry. I'm blanking on her name. She was on Broadway with Matthew Broderick in The Producers. Long-legged, beautiful blonde dancer. I'm blanking on her name. But it was her first love scene with a woman too. So, but the way you prepare for a love scene, I think it depends on the project, and I think it depends on the context within which the project, the scene is going to happen. I think I'd rather shoot somebody than kiss them on camera. I think it's the most difficult thing to do. I think it gets very confusing because your body doesn't know it's not real. I think it's really, really, really smart. They have intimacy coordinators now. And yeah, does that answer the question? Was it fun at all? Oh, I'll tell you a story. We're in with the story. It's like, we've got 1 minute. Two of my favorite love scenes were with John Lithgow and with John Candy, because both of them said to me that they never got to do love scenes and they were very grateful. And there's nothing like, so men, the secret to seduction is to be grateful. Because I was just in love with them for that afternoon, both of them. So that's
amazing.
My story. You guys
Karen,
were great.
that was unbelievable. Did you guys have a good time?
Who's going to be in LA?
Yes.
Who's coming to LA?
I'm coming to LA.
LA.
I'm coming.
I'm already in LA.
You're already in LA. Okay.
Guys, let's give Karen a round of applause. That was unbelievable.
Yay.
Karen, thank you so much. You know, that's what these events are for, to bring creatives together and to have somebody like Karen giving her advice, talking about her experiences. I can't appreciate that enough. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. You guys are really great. Thank you.
Maybe we'll do a part 2. Would you guys want a part 2?
Yes.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Absolutely.
Certainly.
Well,
Karen,
you know
we'll
you know what I could do? I could bring some of my students on who have careers now that are acting.
Let's
that can
do it.
answer, you know, what it's like for them.
I'll email you. Guys, we're going to have a whole new set of events in July, so just stay by your email. We'll make sure to let you know. Karen, thank you again. This was just unbelievable.
Thank you, guys.
And thank you, Brad. Thank you, Brad.
Wait, Greg. What's up, Greg?
Thank you, Brad.
Oh, yeah. Get out of here. No. You're all amazing. Bye.
Bye.